Hello, everybody. Just waiting for another minute or two while people get logged in. Hi, Catherine. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Can everybody hear me okay? Thumbs up. All right, great. So my name is Carla Cantagallo, and I am the distance learning librarian here at UK, which means that my job is to support the faculty, the students, and the staff, teaching, supporting distance learning courses. And in that capacity, it is my responsibility to make sure that those folks get the same level of library service as they would if they were standing here on campus. So being able to use our databases, being able to check books in and out, being able to use streaming media that we have, everything that a student or faculty member being on campus would get, distance learning folks need to get to. So what I'm going to do today is go over our webpage because it can be a little bit overwhelming, a little bit confusing as to what's there and how it supports what you want to do with your students. I'm going to be looking at chat and Q&A on the Zoom. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to unmic and ask a question or pop it into chat. And I try really hard not to use librarian speak as I go through this, but if I slip into it, I apologize and just stop me and ask a question. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen and start out with the UK Library's website. Let me also stop myself right there and give you my email. If you have any questions and we don't get to it today or something comes up after today, please feel free to email me and let me know what concern or question you have. My email is just my first name, Carla, so CARLA @uky.edu. And that is the best way to get a hold of me. So if you have any question that we don't cover today, please let me know. So this is the main UK Library webpage, and it is here to serve everybody. And that's a hard job to do. So you think about undergrads, faculty, staff, graduate students, professional degree students. It serves everybody. And because of trying to cast such a wide net to help people, it can be a little overwhelming. And what does some of this mean? So I want to point out some things for all of you so you know what they are. So when your students talk about them and say, I used X or I used Y or why didn't X work, you are aware of what's going on with these items too. So the top part of the screen has all kinds of helpful information in it. And I'll stick my email in the chat too. Yes, someone just said that. There it is. Put that in there. It has starting information in it. And that is one place that students start. It can be a lot, and it's somewhat difficult sometimes to understand what each of those things are all about. So I generally start students with this area a little further down, and this section over here under search. The section to the right always changes when we do new displays or we have exhibits or speakers coming in. So this area always changes. And then I always talk to students about going below the fold or a little further down on the page and using two very important resources here. And those are interlibrary loan and research guides. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top here and describe what's happening over here. because we do have a lot of options, and knowing what each does, I think, is really important. InfoCat, when I go to this, it says books and more. InfoCat is the card catalog system for the UK library, the whole library system. So it includes everything in Young Library, everything over where I am in Fine Arts and Design, the Med Center, and the Law Library and Education. So the whole collection is represented in here. It goes a little further too, and that's where this discovery part comes in. This is the library's attempt to kind of Googlify what we have and have that wonderful open search screen and allow people to type in anything. Now, you're not really searching anything. You're not searching everything. You're searching some things. And those things are, again, the holdings that UK has. So the books that we have, the journals we have, and the videos, streaming, DVD, our Gov documents, our special collections that have been cataloged. So basically our holdings plus a very small piece of the pie of the contents of a few of our databases. And so that means people are also going to get articles in here. So it's basically a mishmash of things. It's all of our stuff and then a little bit of things from articles from a few of our databases. So it's going to give the widest array of resource results when you do a search. You can always narrow it down and you don't have to search that bigger pool. And I let students know the way you do that is to go over to advanced search. Even if you're not feeling advanced search is where you want to be. And that lets you tell the system that you want to narrow and not search that mishmash. You want to search just the library catalog, for example, to see what we own, and you're not going to get the contents of those articles from a few of those databases. If you want to look at local collections, and that's things from special collections and archives, so that we have that are especially cataloged into our system. Everything takes you back to that mishmash of search anything. And then they can also do course reserves. And if you've never used it before, WorldCat is an amazing system. This is available for everybody. WorldCat is basically a giant card catalog in the sky, so to speak. It's brought to us by OCLC in Columbus, Ohio, and it started out 50 years ago now, probably, for catalogers in libraries to use to input records that showed who owned what. And so ILL, Interlibrary Loan, grew from that, and we could resource share. Well, now it is a huge catalog system, and it includes things from all over the world. So not just UK, not just Kentucky, not just the United States, not just North America, but things from all over the world. And when you, as faculty members, are doing research and you want to cast a wide net and really see what's out there on my subject, WorldCat is an amazing resource to use. So let me stop there for a second, take a drink of iced tea, and see if anybody has any questions about WorldCat or any of that. Okay, onward then. I'm going to go back to the main screen and describe what these next two are, because they are kind of confusing too. Databases is going to take you into an alphabetical listing of all the databases that the University of Kentucky libraries subscribe to. Now, here's the thing with databases. When we say that word, we're using that to talk about resources that pull together and collect articles. Databases can be the most general, and our most general one, oops, sorry, making you a little seasick there, is Academic Search Complete. And that is a database that is beloved by undergrads because I like to describe that as mile wide, inch deep. It covers a plethora of subjects. And it does it kind of to a medium level of interest and picks up definitely peer-reviewed things, but also resources that are for the layperson. So it has a wide variety in its coverage. And then we have hundreds of very specific databases that index the contents of journals. So this is where databases are where you're going to go to find articles. And this is what I tell the students is where they want to be when it's time to do their research. One thing that happens often is they'll go to Google, which I understand, and I love Google, and it has its place and its time, and it's a wonderful resource, but I use it with a very critical eye, and that's what I want them to do when they use it. I prefer that they come to our databases and use them because they're going to already cut through a lot of the stuff that isn't necessary that they bump into on Google, and they're going to get more academic items. So it's a more efficient use of their time. Couple things about that. The databases are relevant, of course. The material that's in them is newer, the most recent possible gets picked up. They are generally having peer-reviewed results in them. I teach the students too that the terms peer-reviewed, juried are interchangeable for scholarly articles. So the databases will also get them to much more specific material. If you're a social work student, you want to use social work abstracts to get to the most specific information on your discipline in the most timely manner. And that's the way to do it. A lot of times, though, what happens when I see students on Google is they end up, and this happens with faculty too, starting at the publisher's website. This happens a lot. And what happens then is they'll do a search on the publisher's website, find something that looks good, and then they're told you have to pay for it. That is a huge warning. If any student says to you, well, it wanted me to pay for it, or you run into something in your research that asked you to pay for it, do not do that. Because chances are very good we have what you need. And if we don't, we offer interlibrary loan, and I'll talk about that in a minute too. So that's what I see happen when students start out on Google. They run into the publishers' websites, they get frustrated. So instead, I always recommend all research starts on the UK Libraries homepage. And that is where you'll get to the best things the fastest. So I'm going to go back here in just a second. You can put in the database name if you know the name. We have them by subject too, and I'll show you how to get to that in just a minute. So I'm going to go back here. So that's what databases does. It takes you to those resources that are going to help you find timely articles. Now, journals. This is the one that I think is misleading, and I wish we could think of a different name for it. We haven't found the best name for it, and if you can think of it, please let me know. It has a very specific job. Its job is to tell you if we have digital access in full text format to a specific journal title and its contents. Journals is not where you go if you want to put in some subject terms or an author's name and see what articles are out there. Okay, journals is where you're going to go if you want to see what we've got. If we have the full text of a title digitally and for what years. It's going to show you if we have it in paper, but it's also going to show you if we have it online. And this is an example of one that's online. Now, when you look at that, folks get excited and they think, okay, they've got it from 1978, which we may very well. We'll find out in a minute. This 1978 is actually telling me that that's when this journal started publishing under this title. Okay, to see what digital access we actually have for this journal, you have to go in and look at the full record, which is what's coming up right now. And what is in front of me is a listing right here of the 3 databases that include full text access to this specific journal title. Okay, so if you found an article in a database search and it was in this journal and you wanted to see if we had it, you would use that journals button on the home page to see if we have it and get to it. What you want to do, though, is look carefully and have the students look carefully at what exactly we have. So Sage Premier actually does have it from 1978, and pretend, I don't know why it doesn't do this, but that there's a dash right here. So it's got it to the most current, and it's going into the record for me. And here it is. I'm going to accept all those cookies. And it has moved me into that journal and shows me all the decades of holdings that are full text. So this is an amazing resource, and the students taking the time to learn it is not a waste of time. A lot of often I'll have students say, well, this is great, you know, I've learned how to use these, I'm comfortable searching these different databases, and then I graduate, and what happens? And they're correct. Upon graduation, they won't have access to these anymore unless they come on campus physically and use the resources of the library. However, many states, including Kentucky, have virtual libraries. And in Kentucky, it's the KYVL, and I'll put that in chat too. KYVL.org is the Kentucky Virtual Library, and they have many, not all, I mean, we have deeper pockets, so we've got more databases than they do, but they have the biggies. And this is a way upon graduation to go out and still be able to do research. So they're not learning how to use these resources for naught. It is worth time learning to get comfortable and to pick your keywords and know the different fields of the databases so that you can go in and find things that are helpful to you without, again, having to page through Google web page after Google web page. So that is using that journals tab to see what we have. If we look at the education database, it's got a much smaller holding. It goes from 1999 to 2011, and same with the social science premium collection. Our databases and our journal packages are very similar to ordering cable, unfortunately. We get packages, and if we order one to get some specific journals, we may get it repeated in another. So that's why you're seeing multiples. But in this case, if you needed something older, your only option would be to use Sage Premier and get what you need. Let me go back here. So I'm going to go back to the library's homepage. So special collections is what Explore UK Archives is all about. This is their entree point to the rare and unique items that they have digitized and are available. This is where you're going to find thousands of photographs. Yearbooks are in here. Our newspaper is in here. So this is a great resource for primary information. Working with special collections and archives is a great way to get your students using primary resources. And they can, again, get to some of them right here, but a lot of the things that we have are not digitized yet. And students and faculty need to go over and work with the folks in King for special collections. Okay. Let me pop down here to the beneath the fold part and explain my two favorite things here. First one is interlibrary loan, which hopefully some of you have used and realize how amazing this service is. I always make sure to tell students about it, especially undergraduates. It is free. Free for free, as that advertisement on TV goes. And it's an amazing service. Basically, if there is something that you want and we don't have it, we're going to get it for you from another library in the US or abroad for free. I can't emphasize that enough. And it definitely costs the library and the university to do this, but we don't pass that cost on to anyone else. So what's wonderful about this, besides the free part, is that it's pretty quick. And it allows folks to ask for articles, books, DVDs. Now, I'm not talking about first run new movies, won't do that, but research resources. Catherine asked a really good question, so let me stop and answer this. She asked if we would like to reference these resources or reading materials in Canvas. Is it permissible to use what we find in the database, and what is the best way to reference? Okay, great questions. Yes, in fact, the other hat I wear is a copyright hat. I'm a copyright specialist for the library. So if you find something in any of our databases, the copyright information, fees are all taken care of. You can put those in your Canvas course. So if it's a full text of an article, you can link it, and there'll be links in the database for the article, and you can copy and paste that link. And I'm going to show you some other places to get that kind of support from. So bear with me 1 minute on that too. So yes, great question, Catherine. There's no copyright issue like there would be. And as I tell students, just because it's on the internet and you freely found it, you must always assume that it's copyright protected and you should not grab it and use it. The safest thing to do copyright wise is point to it, link to it, but don't put it wholesale into your Canvas site. However, if it comes from one of our databases and you were in Academic Search Complete, for example, and you found the full text of an article from the New York Times from 2 days ago, and you want that in your Canvas shell, you can put that in there. No problem at all. Okay, great question. Thank you. Okay, for ILLiad, that's the cute name for our interlibrary loan service. That's the software that we use. You will log in with your LinkBlue credentials, and I'll show you what it looks like. Students will log in with their LinkBlue credentials, and they will make a new request. So they can ask for an article, a book chapter, anything you see here. If it's an article or a book chapter, generally what happens is that's done electronically and they get PDF copies, and that will be dropped into your ILLiad account, which I just logged into mine. So it knows who I am. It knows where I want physical things delivered because I set up my profile in it, and it knows that I want things here at the Fine Arts Library. So you can ask for it and we'll go get it. And Michelle asked, would that work for a textbook? Okay, Michelle, good question. And I'm thinking you're asking about if you find a digital ebook, you can put that into Canvas too. Yes, if that's what you're asking, let me know if I got that wrong. Basically, yeah, yay is right. Basically, anything that you find that comes from the UK website and has the linking feature, you can drop into Canvas. Okay, we have streaming services, which will allow you to put streaming documentaries into your course shell. So, and I'll show you where to get information on that in just a second too. So yes, if it comes from us, yes. If it comes from outside the University of Kentucky and you find it on some wayward website, no. A hard no, unless we do some, talking about fair use and what can and cannot be put in. And of course, then with copyright, there's always the option to get a license or get permission. So I say no with reservations, because sometimes we can still get things that people need that aren't part of the UK collection, let's call it. So always ask. It's always better to do that, and we'll go find out what can and cannot be gotten. But I do always tell people, don't just wholesale pluck things off the internet, because you're unfortunately not protected. So that's a problem copyright wise. Okay, so interlibrary loan. Books will be sent to you. You can pick them up at any library on campus and use them. Generally, people are given 2 to 3 weeks with the book. And if you need to renew it, you can always ask ILL and they'll ask the lending library. But again, this is free. Students don't know about it that much. So I always like to tell them that it's there, because there are going to be times, and I'm sure you as faculty know this, that you do a search, you're on WorldCat, you're in our InfoCat, and you think, why is everything that I'm pulling up something that we don't have? You can still get it. There's still a viable option and a way through ILLiad to get it. And it's an amazing resource, and it's fast. For articles, you can usually get them in a couple days, if not a day. We can't promise exact turnaround times. If it's a book and something that is physical that it's coming here, that comes from the USPS. So especially around the holidays, things slow down. So it might take a week or more for a book to get here. And you will know that it's an interlibrary loan book because it will have a blue paper band across the front of cover, and it has a due date on it. And that's the date by which it needs to come back to us, unless you've asked to renew it. Okay. That's ILL in a nutshell. I am going to pop back to the library's webpage again and show you 2 other things in the time we've got left. The second thing under the fold is research guides. This is, I'm never sure, should I lead with this, end up with this, put it in the middle? It fits in many places. Research guides are pathfinders that librarians here at UK have created, and they are here to help you and your students find information that pertains to your subject area by subject. So you can look at these subjects, and as you can see, it's not every subject in the world, by far, not. Everything is organized into disciplines. There is a search button up here. One of my favorites that doesn't show up in the list are newspapers. So if you're looking for Kentucky newspapers and what we have and how to access them, this is what a research guide looks like. It goes by that subject. And then it's going to point you to things that we have at UK in the library system that satisfy your request. So if you wanted to know, do we have the Lexington Herald Leader digitally? Yes, we do. And here's where you can jump off to search it. This is helpful. All of these guides are helpful as you start to get to know what databases we have. Once you get to know the databases we have and their names, you can always go to that database link on the home page and just put in the database name. You can also bookmark it on your machine too. So I'm going to show you, for example, here's the social work research guide. They're done a little differently by each librarian. We kind of try to adhere to a template. You see the librarian who is the subject specialist in that area, and you can always contact them for more help. I'm always happy to help you too. And if I'm not the best person, I will get you to the right person to talk to. And then as you can see here, what Margie has done on the left is she's broken down the different types of resources for social work and has put in helpful information. So here are the best databases for the discipline of social work, for example. And she's got them listed in here, and you can just click on it. And from here, from home, it's going to put in your Link Blue. You'll have to put in your Link Blue credentials. But on campus, you should not have to. Sometimes it gets tricky and it asks you to do that, but that's not a problem. Just throw your Link Blue in and you're good to go. So here is an example of a database. We're in one that's brought to us by EBSCO, so that's the vendor. So if a student says, well, I searched all the EBSCO databases, EBSCO is a vendor from which we get about 50 different subject-specific databases, and SWAB, Social Work Abstracts, is one of those databases, as an example. Okay, so I'm going to just put in a real quick search in here to show you one other little trick on this. It brought up 577 articles on intimate partner violence, and it uses an algorithm like Google does, a relevance one. You can always switch that and say, well, I want to see the most recent publications first. Now, a few of our databases are purely indexing. So all they're going to do is let you search by your search term, and it's going to show you the results. There's no full text. But many of our databases, including the ones from EBSCO and ProQuest, two of our major vendors, includes full text. And if that is available, you will see a link like this one that says PDF or HTML. You always want the PDF, it's nicer. And the article is there. You're good to go. Just click it. The PDF comes up. There are links. If I come over here to the right, so you can link it and put it into Canvas. But what do you do if it's not full text? You don't give up. There's the research circle of life. So this one, let's say we wanted to look at this very first one, and I see it's not full text. That doesn't mean that we don't have it in a different system. So this little button that you see right here, View Now, I think that's a Compass, UK. What it's doing is it's going out and it's searching that journals tab that we looked at the front page to see if we get this journal, the Journal of Poverty, full text in a different system. So when I hit that button, it's going to run that search for me. And then we wait, and it found it. Okay, so here we are doing a search in SWAB, the social work database. We found an article that looked good to us that we wanted. We saw that it was not full text, but it had that View Now button, and clicking that, it found that we had it in a different system and took me to it. So letting the students know that if it's not full text, looking for that button is the first thing to do. And the next thing to do, because there are going to be times when indeed it comes up and it says, we don't have it. It's not full text. We don't have the journal, let's say, in paper, so you can't get it that way. You're going to use interlibrary loan and you're going to request it that way and get it delivered to you in PDF format, and you can keep that article forever, ever. It's yours to use for research purposes. So generally, when you're doing research, there's a good ending to what you're looking for, and we should be able to get what you need. Okay, so that's just an example. Let me stop. I know there was a chat question. Let me go pull that up. I think it was about EndNote. So let me go back. So EndNote is going to let you, do most of you use it? I'll take something in chat, or let's see. Yeah, Catherine, good one. Okay, so yes, you can. Andrea's question about using EndNote. Our databases work with EndNote, and you can export from the database to EndNote to manage your resources. The Med Center Library up at the hospital actually conducts courses on EndNote. So if you want to take a course up there, they have a calendar. If you go to the Medical Center Library's homepage, their calendar there for courses, and they do basics to, I believe, kind of intermediary EndNote courses. So that's a great resource. But yes, our databases do talk to EndNote and let you export or import. Catherine asks if the PDFs are compliant with accessibility requirements. Most are, yes. And very often you'll get one that will let you, like, let me minimize something here. Like this one, you can actually listen to it. So if you like to learn by hearing, you can listen to the article be read. The PDFs are generally compliant with screen readers, yes. So if you have a problem with one, though, let me know and we will figure out what's going on. But yes. All right, the last thing I'm going to show you in our last little bit here is on our home screen, resources for you as the professors creating courses and wanting to use library content. It's this link right here that says teaching support. If you click on this, you're going to get a whole bunch of options. Well, whoops, I clicked on the wrong thing there. Let's go back here. Teaching support. So options for helpful ways to put things into Canvas, to manage library resources, teaching with primary sources. And this part, instructional tools and resources, is also helpful. If you want to build into your course information literacy skills, we've got self-guided courses, basically open enrollment courses. So students, you can certainly require that they take these, but they are self-paced and they can go in and learn more about how to use the library. And then, of course, you can always get one of us to be a partner with you in your course and work with you to develop really good library resources and or assignments that use library resources, whether they're primary, secondary, or databases. We're happy to help you with that. So let me stop right here and go back to teaching support real quick, and let me see what other questions you may have as we're dwindling on time. What may I answer for you, or something I didn't go over that you have a question about? I'll be quiet for a minute. Okay, well, the big thing for today is for you to reach out, and I hope it's helped you learn a little bit more about how our website is put together. And people are here to help you. So make sure you reach out to me. And again, if I'm not the right person, and I'm not always going to be the right person, I'll get you to one of my colleagues or someone else in the library system to help you, because we are here to support what you're doing. And we want you to use the library resources that are available, and we want your students to feel comfortable with them. So talking with one of us is super easy and free. We're here to help you. So please just reach out and let us know what you need. Okay, you're free for lunch now. Thank you, everybody, for listening and for participating. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your questions too. So thank you very much. Have a good rest of the day.